Thank you. Please be seated. All right, we're on the record on 17 Sierra 343. And Mr. Bogan, does Mr. Redwine consent to appearing remotely during this proceeding? Do we need to unmute him? There we go. Mr. Bogan, does Mr. Redwine agree to appear remotely? Mr. Bogan, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear. Over.
Does Mr. Redwine consent to appearing remotely at this proceeding?
I believe he does.
All right. So, I want to let the parties know that the proceedings today are being streamed via WebEx events, and because this is simply a resetting of the trial, I'm considering this to be part of the trial, allowing proceedings to be covered under my previous expanded media order. Proceedings can be captured, recorded, or rebroadcast by the media. So anything that's streamed today is going to go out, or could go out. Therefore, what we're going to do today is reset the trial. And somebody needs to turn their sound down, and I'm not sure who that would be. So if there's any issues besides resetting the trial, I want a motion filed, and we'll address it at a future hearing. The last time I looked, it looked to me like speedy trial expired at the end of October, thereby giving us 90 days to reset this trial. And that would put us in trial in late January. Mr. Champagne, do you think that's correct, or do you have a different date?
Judge, I do have a different date, but we would like a trial set at the end of January regardless.
Well, what is the date that you came up with?
Judge, by my calculation...
Excuse me, Your Honor.
Yes.
I'm having a hard time hearing and understanding what's being said.
I can imagine, because there's a lot of feedback, I'm thinking. I just turned down our system volume to see if that helps any. Can you hear me all right now, Mr. Redwine? Well, I can't hear you. I can see that underneath your mask you're talking. So, Mr. Redwine, can you answer verbally, because we have a court reporter here. I'm sorry, what? He's muted? Okay, I guess Mr. Redwine is muted.
Okay, Your Honor.
So we're going to mute you again, Mr. Redwine, because I think that's where the feedback's coming from.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, does that work for you, Mr. Bogan?
Yes, Judge.
All right, thank you. So, Mr. Champagne.
Judge, I don't have an exact date. The way I've been looking at speedy trial is the following. On March 19th, 2020, the defendant waived speedy trial. The trial was set on May 26th. That time period is 69 days. And we believe all those days count against speedy trial under the court's previous orders on the topic. May 26th was a mistrial date. The court reset the case till July 8th. That is 44 days. We believe none of those days count against speedy trial because that's within 90 days of the, which would normally be excluded under the speedy trial statute for a mistrial. On the July 8th trial was also mistried. The case was reset eventually to October 29th. That's 114 days between those two dates. We believe that 90 of those days should be excluded under the speedy trial statute resulting from the mistrial, which leaves 24 days counting against speedy trial. So by our calculations, 87 days of speedy trial have been used up so far. Now, that being said, we would still like a setting within 90 days of the date this mistrial was declared so that we do not use up any more days of speedy trial in resetting this case. So our preference would be the end of January if that's possible.
All right. Mr. Bogan, what would you like to say about resetting the trial? You're muted, Mr. Bogan.
There we go. If I understand the Chief Judge's order correctly, trials will hopefully resume January 25th. That's a Monday. I have some concerns. I don't know if they're shared by the court or the other litigants about Ignacio, Durango, and Bayfield spring break all occurring during March 15th through the 19th. I don't think we want to wind up in a position running into spring break unless we clear those hardships on the front end of jury selection. No one knows what the world's going to look like in January, but in the court's estimation, my recollection is after 2 2/3 days of court hardship voir dire and 2.5 days, maybe 2 days of individual voir dire, we had reached a number of folks who qualified for attorney big group voir dire. That number I'm not going to get into on the record, but assuming everything is the same, that would be 5 days to get through the initial part of voir dire, and then big group voir dire happening the Monday after January 25th. I think that would be February 1st. The people say they need 8 to 10 days to put on their case. We've told the court we believe we need 2 weeks to put on our case. That does put us into the beginning of March. We'll accept a date in January by all means. I just mean to flag the issue of 3 school districts going into spring break on March 15th. I couldn't discern from their webpage when Fort Lewis College is going on spring break, and perhaps I'm bringing these issues up prematurely, but I just wanted to put them out there, Your Honor.
All right. With what's going on nationally and statewide and locally, I'm really not sure January 25th is a realistic date, but we can shoot for it, and we'll see what happens. We'll schedule this for 8 a.m. on January 25th, and I'll get an order out to that effect. So anything else about the trial date, Mr. Champagne?
Judge, I would just request a status conference in early January where we can reassess the viability of this date prior to locking in about permanent travel plans, et cetera.
And that's fine, we can do that. Just a second. How about January 5th at 9 o'clock?
That works. Thanks. Over.
Right.
That should be fine. Thank you, Judge.
All right. With that, we'll be off the record. Unless you have something else, Mr. Bogan, on the trial setting.
Nothing further, sir.
Thank you. All right, that'll be the order of the court. Thank you
Judge, if you could also extend all the subpoenas that have currently been issued, as you have previously.
Yeah, I can. The subpoenas will be extended. All right, now we'll go off the record. Thank you. Thank you, Judge.
Thank you.